It feels like things are changing so fast these days, like the ground shifting under our feet with everything happening in the economy and politics. It can be hard to keep up, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's striking me lately is just how closely intertwined everything seems to be. I think figuring out those connections is really the key to making sense of it all.
And that's exactly what we're going to do today. Now, you send over some really fascinating material. A little unsettling maybe, but definitely thought-provoking. We're going to dive deep, so to speak, into these recent U.S. tariffs, this hypothetical but still massive stock market crash you highlighted, the social unrest that's been bubbling up, and then take a hard look at the American government under Donald Trump, especially with Elon Musk kind of in the mix now.
Right, exactly. We've got this excerpt that lays out this hypothetical, economic crisis scenario, and then we've got this other piece that's a really critical analysis of Trump's presidency. I think both of them give us some really valuable insights into what's going on.
So for you listening out there, our goal today is to cut through all the noise and really pull out the most important takeaways here. We want to understand what could trigger these huge events, what the consequences might be, how it all ripples through the U.S. government and the world as a whole. And we're going to do it without getting bogged down in overly complicated jargon. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So where do we even start with all of this?
Well, let's start with that hypothetical crisis scenario, the one you just mentioned.
Okay, yeah. So this first piece, it paints this picture of, the U.S. slapping these tariffs, basically taxes on imports on all sorts of goods from different countries. The idea, I guess, is to help out American industries, right?
Yeah.
Give them a boost. But it also almost immediately brings up the idea of those other countries fighting back with their own tariffs, right?
Right, and that's a really important point to remember. Tariffs almost never, exist in a vacuum. When one country uses them, the other countries that are affected, they often retaliate. They put up their own trade barriers, and then you get this kind of escalating cycle, which is what we call a trade war.
And this excerpt, it warns about this huge potential crash in the U.S. stock market. It says, a $6.6 trillion loss in just 2 days. And the reasons it gives are pretty scary, to be honest. Fear of a recession, disruptions in all these global supply chains we always hear about, and maybe the biggest one, a huge drop in confidence in leadership. It even specifically calls out Trump and Musk, depending on their actions, or, maybe controversies is a better word. It's a pretty dire warning.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
A market drop of that size, it's more than just numbers on a screen, right? It really signals a big shift in how investors view risk and the future. This fear of a recession, that can trigger everyone selling off their stocks. And when we're talking about global supply chains, we're talking about these incredibly complex networks that move goods around the world, from raw materials to finished products